If it's Friday night, it is Strictly Sports. Hello, friends. It's Anthony Floro here with you for another edition of Strictly Sports. Delighted to be here as always. Delighted to have you with us as well on this chilly Friday night. I am joined as always by Michael Bullock. Michael Fletcher, unfortunately, will not be joining us tonight due to work commitments beyond his control. He'll be back with us Monday night for the Wrestling Forum. And of course, you already know about Derek Ferreira. Of course, you know his story by now, sports blog and other commitments. So me and Bullock here, you know what that means. The Yes Movement, how
Yes
apropos.
Movement takes over.
What's that?
They said Yes Movement takes over.
Yes Movement takes over indeed. And how apropos considering the events of this week and this past Monday especially. So it's only fitting that the Yes Movement runs this show here tonight. So without any further ado, let's dive right on into what we're going to have here tonight. I do apologize for the almost hour and a half delay. We were slated to start for 10:30, but then Bullock had a family commitment that he needed to take care of, and when push came to shove, it went a little longer than he would have liked. So, but you know, it is what it is. So everything's all straightened out on that. So, all right. With all that being said, let's dive right into what's going to be a basketball-oriented show here tonight. I mean, I'm just wondering. Well, of course, you all know throughout this season we've had all football shows. Well, this show's all about basketball this week. No hockey, no football, baseball, what have you. It's all about the basketball this week. So that's all there is to it. So here's what we have. Here's what we have on the show tonight. Derek Fisher was fired as the head coach of the New York Knicks earlier this week. He's being replaced on an interim basis by Kurt Rambis. Louisville self-imposing a 1-year postseason ban for many discretions. And then in our double main event, we are going to triple main event really. We're going to preview the NBA All-Star Saturday night, which is tomorrow night. Really looking forward to that. Of course, we'll also talk about the NBA All-Star game. And in the main event of the evening, of course, as always, our newest installment of the NBA Power Rankings. And I'm going to tell you right now, my friends, my numbers 1 through 4 are all no-brainers. 5 through 10, though, that's going to be a chore. So just wanted to give you all a heads up on that. So yeah. But one other thing before we move on, of course, this past Sunday night, we did our Super Bowl 50 recap show on Michael Fletcher's channel, Braves Fan 95, and record number of views for any Strictly Sports broadcast in the now 4-year history of Strictly Sports. Man, I can't believe it's already been 4 years since we started this whole thing, but here we are, still going strong, and record number turnout on Michael Fletcher's channel as of right now. The video has garnered, get this, Bullock, 1,170 views.
Whoa.
As of press time right now. As of 11:57 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here. 1,170 views on Michael Fletcher's channel for our Super Bowl 50 recap show. And it's a testament to all you wonderful fans out there. Simply put, you are the best fans in the world. And we're going to give you all an extra special shout out. And me being the holy roller that I am, I'm going to be sure that you all get an extra blessing here tonight. So I just wanted to, share that all with you, share that with all of you, I should say. So praise the Lord indeed. 1,170 views. My goodness, my Lord in heaven. That's all I can say. So you are the best fans in the world. Enough said. So, all right. So we're going to dive right in here and get into our first story of the night. This past week, Derek Fisher was fired as the head coach of the New York Knicks. Of course, he's now being replaced on an interim basis by one of the NBA all-time greats, of course, Kurt Rambis. So, of course, we all know Derek Fisher. I mean, we all know he was a great player. Came out of the University of Arkansas, Little Rock, from 92 to 96. Played with several teams, of course, most notably the Los Angeles Lakers, as you all know. Won numerous championships with them, was a part of the championship teams. He won 5 NBA championships. Of course, that three-peat, 2000, 2001, 2002, all 3 years of high school for me. And then 2009 and 2010. And won an NBA Shooting Stars championship and a Sun Belt Player of the Year. You know, a great player in his day. And played for the Lakers 1996 to 2004. Then he went to the Golden State Warriors from 2004 to 2006. The Utah Jazz from 2006 to 2007. Back to the Lakers 2007 to 2012. He was all over the place in 2012. Started with Lakers, and then also in 2012 went to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And in 2012 again, the Dallas Mavericks. And then his playing career ended in the 2013-14 season when he went to the Oklahoma City Thunder for a second stint. And then he became the head coach of the New York Knicks. On June 10th of 2014, a 5-year, $25 million deal. He said that his relationship with Jackson, who had become the president of the Knicks, was a major factor in his decision to join the team. He planned for the Knicks to run the triangle offense, which he learned while he was with the Los Angeles Lakers under Phil Jackson. During the offseason, he helped the Knicks recruit and re-sign free agent Carmelo Anthony, whom Fisher believed could adapt to the new offense. And on October 29th of 2014, in his first game, they were beaten by the Chicago Bulls, 104-80. Won his first game as Knicks head coach on October 30th of 2014, defeating the Cleveland Cavaliers 95-90. And they ended the year with a 17-65 record, the worst record in the illustrious franchise history of the New York Knicks. And we're talking the old days of the New York Knicks. We're talking the days of Dave DeBusschere and Bill Bradley and Willis Reed, and even when Phil Jackson was a player, for goodness sakes. And of course, those teams that won championships in 1970 and 1973. And of course, and then also, of course, in the 80s and the 90s, which were their glory days when they had the big three of Patrick Ewing and John Starks and Charles Oakley and so many other great legends on that team. And, you know, going to the finals in 94 and 99 and having other great players like Larry Johnson and Allen Houston. So that's basically what I'm trying to say. Worst in franchise history that year. And then Kristaps, when they drafted Porzingis, you know, in the first round, they began the 2015-16. They began this season with a 22-22 record. But then this past week, Derek Fisher was fired after they lost 9 out of 10 and dropped to 23-31. And in his 1.5 years with the New York Knicks, his overall record, a dismal, and I do mean dismal, 40-96, with a win, which is a win percentage of .294. Little bit of a rushy move here, if I'm going to be honest here. I mean, you know, when they were 22-22, I mean, they were right there. They were right there in the thick of things in the Eastern Conference. But unfortunately, it's the classic case of what have you done for me lately? And unfortunately, he hasn't done anything. And you know, it is what it is. And you know, shame really. I mean, because they were actually doing pretty darn well. I mean, they were right there, and they were right there in the thick of things. I mean, really, they were. And then one thing led to another, and that was that. So, you know, it is a shame, and he's replaced, of course, by Kurt Rambis, as we all know. Kurt Rambis, a former NBA great himself, played on those Showtime Laker teams, as you all know, in the 80s. You know, with Magic and Kareem and all those other legends that were on that team, all those years. You remember he was a cool looking guy to me. I mean, I remember growing up watching him. You know, he had the glasses and he had the mustache there. I mean, oh yeah, who could ever forget it? I mean, when you look at what he's done, I mean, he won 4 NBA championships, 1982, 1985, and then the back-to-back in 87 and 88. He played for Athens, Greece, 80 to 81. He played for the Lakers, of course, 81 to 88, where he had his most success, and then went to the Charlotte Hornets, 88, 89, 89 to 91 with the Phoenix Suns, 91 to 93 with the Sacramento Kings, and then back to the Lakers, 93 to 95. And then he began coaching in 94. He was an assistant, 94 to 99. Was the head coach, I think, during the lockout season of 99. And then 01 to 04 was on Phil Jackson's staff as an assistant. And then again in 05 through 09. And then in 2009 to 11, it was the head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves. 2013 to 14 went back to the Lakers as an assistant. And then he became an associate head coach with the Knicks under Derek Fisher's staff. And then, of course, he became the head coach of the Knicks, obviously, now. So with that, I mean, so that's pretty much the schematics that you need to know about Kurt Rambis. So, I mean, great. I mean, I think it's a solid move, but I don't know if it's going to lead to any long-term success. I mean, they got a long way to go. I mean, to be honest with you. So we'll see. I mean, you never know. So they're currently 23 and 32. They've lost 6 straight games. They're 1-9 in their last 10. They currently sit 13 and a half games out of first in the Atlantic Division. I mean, if the regular season were to end today, the Knicks would obviously not be in the playoffs. Top 8 teams make it. Cleveland, of course, leads the East. Cleveland's the 1 seed right now. Number 2 is Toronto. 3, believe it or not, and I know much to the delight of Michael Bullock, is his Boston Celtics. Hard to believe they're in the number 3 spot in the East. And then you got the Atlanta Hawks at 4, the Miami Heat at 5, the Indiana Pacers at 6, Michael Fletcher and Matt Ward, Chicago Bulls, sitting at number 7. And currently at number 8, believe it or not, it is the Charlotte Hornets. So the Knicks are currently 5 games behind the Hornets for that number 8 spot. They're not only looking up to Charlotte, they're also looking up to the Detroit Pistons. They're also looking up to the Washington Wizards. And believe it or not, they're even looking up to the Orlando Magic. So Cleveland, Toronto, Boston, Atlanta, Miami, Indiana, Chicago, Charlotte. Those are your 8 in the Eastern Conference as of right now. Knicks would not have made it. They would have been 5 games out of that last spot behind Charlotte. So we'll see. I mean, it depends on how the schedule works out. I mean, if they can avoid a murderer's row schedule, they'll be okay. But if not, then I don't know. But it's been basically hard times for the Knicks over the last few years. And, you know, this team has not been the same since the days of Ewing and Starks and Oakley and Pat Riley when he was coaching them. And it was even the days of Jeff Van Gundy when they had Allen Houston and Larry Johnson when they made that surprise run to the finals in '99 as an 8 seed. Go figure. So they haven't done much of anything. So we'll have to wait and see. It's been like 3 or 4 years, I believe, since they last made it. I think it was in 2012, or I think they last made it. But they lost to Mr. Bullock's Celtics, as I recall, in the first round. So I don't know. But Derek Fisher, wish him all the best in his future endeavors. I'm sure he'll get another coaching job somewhere, but we'll see. So best of luck to Kurt Rambis and the Knicks. So your heart breaks for Derek Fisher, but wish Kurt Rambis the best of luck. I mean, like I said, I grew up watching him. I used to have a lot of fun watching him. I loved his look back in the day, but he's not like that guy anymore. So, awesome. So wish him the best. So with all that said, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on Derek Fisher getting fired and Kurt Rambis being hired as the interim?
Yes, hello friends. Mike Bullock here for another edition of Strictly Sports. Delighted to be here as always. I was a little surprised that Derek Fisher got fired. I mean, this was only his second season as the coach of the New York Knicks. But the thing is, I mean, the pressure that comes along with coaching in a city like New York. I mean, you could pretty much say the same thing with any New York team, whether it's the Yankees or the Mets with the Major League Baseball, the Rangers with the NHL, and in this case with the Knicks in the NBA. So yeah, and of course the New York Giants and the New York Jets in the NFL. So yeah, so I mean, I can understand why this move had to be made. I mean, obviously because the team is struggling and the ownership group wants to.
We lost Michael Bullock for a moment, but I'm sure he'll be back with us momentarily. So, oh, there he is. All right, well, continue on.
Yeah, it's been going on. I mean, I had this call error that keeps popping up and it hangs up on me. So I'm gonna try my best to. Well, hopefully it stops right here. But as I was saying, yeah. So the pressure definitely comes along when you're coaching in New York. But a move had to be made. But I think Derek Fisher got a raw deal to me, if I'm gonna be quite honest. So yeah. So and Kurt Rambis. I mean, I think. Well, I'm interested to see how he does. With the Knicks as the interim coach. I mean, he did have some success um in LA, but yeah, but we'll wait and see. But I think Derek Fisher will get another coaching job. So where will it be? We'll just have to wait and find out. So best of luck to Derek Fisher, and hopefully he gets another job. And best of luck to Kurt Rambis coaching the team. So with that being said, Floria, let's move on.
And we move on to, hate to say it, but a hard times story here. And let's dive right into this. The the Louisville Cardinals, as we all know, men's basketball team. As we all know, under fire recently. Of course, self-imposed a postseason ban for this season's men's basketball team amid an ongoing NCAA investigation over an escort scandal involving recruits between 2010 to 2014. None of the players on this team are involved in the allegations. The ban includes both the ACC conference tournament and, of course, the NCAA tournament. So that's the story. Michael Bullock, you start this off. Your thoughts on all this this escort scandal, if you will, which led Louisville to self-impose this 1-year postseason ban for the men's basketball team.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about a hard time story with Louisville. I mean, with all the things regarding strippers and recruiting and all that. But I mean, and of course, when the story first came out, I mean, Louisville basically flat out denied it, and not just the athletic director, but the head coach, and then I guess obviously after consideration, I guess the school decided that they wanted to do what was right and place a postseason ban on the team. So basically, it's no ACC tournament for uh, for Louisville and no NCAA tournament for them. So yeah, I mean, and it's a darn shame that it has to happen to a great school like Louisville. I mean you I mean you've seen the success of Louisville, of course, going from Denny Crum, who was the coach a long time ago, to now with the tradition being held there by Rick Pitino. and he's done an amazing job at Louisville. I mean, he's gotten them to some Final Four appearances, and so it's a sad day for the school. But to me, I'll be quite honest with you. I think the school did the right thing. I mean, obviously, if there were some things that were found there, they were probably going to get punished anyway. So I commend the athletic director for punishing the team. So with that being said, Florio, your thoughts on this situation?
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I mean, hard times indeed. It's a shame that this had to happen, but it is what it is. Escorts and all that good stuff that cost this very talented team a chance to represent the ACC in the NCAA tournament. I mean, here's a team who won the national championship back in 2013, as I predicted when we did our CBS Sports, Strictly Sports Bracket Manager group on CBSSports.com. I mean, they were the reason why I went on to win that, as everybody knows. 2013, they win a national championship. They're one of the mainstays in the ACC and in the national rankings too. But unfortunately, things like this, you have to commend the school for what they did. They self-imposed the ban, because the NCAA, they would have gotten involved, and they would have handed down some very harsh and severe penalties, if I'm going to be honest with you, probably even more worse than what they self-imposed on themselves. But, anytime, there's, sexual misconduct of any kind, that's how big of a deal that is. So that's a very big deal. And of course, anytime anything like that goes on, as Raven would always say in the world of wrestling, you must be punished. And yes, Louisville was punished, and I commend the school for what they did. I know it was hard for them to do it, but they knew the NCAA was going to be after them, and the NCAA was going to be all over them. So they obviously had to do what they felt was best for business. And so it's sad, but your heart breaks for all those young men who unfortunately have to pay the price.
And the thing is, Florian, I mean, they basically had nothing to do with this.
Exactly. I mean,
those who are on the team.
None of the current players on this team had nothing to do with it, and yet they have to be punished for something past players did. No.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, this is something like what we saw with the Penn State football team with the whole Jerry Sandusky situation. I mean, the players on that team, I mean, they're being punished for something a former coach did in the past. And to me, I'll be quite honest with you, that's not fair to those young men who are busting their ass off for their school.
Exactly, Bolt. I couldn't agree with you more. So
and it's stupid, and I'm not going to take it anymore.
Yeah, we certainly will not stand for that. I mean, why do they have to be made an example of when they had nothing to do with it? I mean, it's pointless, it's unnecessary, it's unacceptable, it's inexcusable, reprehensible, and borderline irresponsible. And they're currently tied for third in the ACC standings based on conference record. Right now, they have an overall record of 19-5 and a conference record of 8-3, and they're currently number 13 in the poll. They're 13. This is an average year for them. I mean, this is business as usual for them. But nonetheless, I mean, it's sickening. That's what it is. It's sickening. That's all it is to it. It makes us sick to our damn stomachs. That's all there is to it. Me especially. There's nothing I hate more than when somebody makes a mistake and other people, not just any other people, but innocent other people who had nothing to do with it have to pay the price for it. It's like in school, you know. It's like in a class, if you will. And this has happened to me before. Somebody, you know, commits a Dinkelberg move, and the whole class had to pay the price for it. That happened to me. Honestly, it has happened to me. I don't know if it's happened to you, Bullock, and if it has, I mean, I feel bad for you, man. I hope that nothing like that ever happened to you, where you had to endure BS like that.
Yeah, I can't quite remember.
Yeah, but I remember one time in the high school there was one class. It was in my history class, my U.S. history class. Somebody, you know, was a little too antsy, a little too saucy, and the class ended up having to, and the teacher ended up making us do an assignment that, you know, just came out of nowhere, and we had to pay the price for it. I could not tell you at that particular moment how PO'd I was at that particular point in time. I'm not going to go any further into that. So I think you can read between the lines what was going through my mind at that particular point in time. So I'm not gonna waste any more time on this nonsense. So we like to have fun here. We like to talk about happier things, about pleasant things on this show. And that's exactly what we're going to do right here and now. Get the hard times BS out of here. And let's move on to something very fun and very exciting, something that Bullock and I know in spirit, Fletcher and Derek are looking forward to as well. NBA All-Star Saturday night. Of course, that's coming up now that we're past midnight here on the East Coast. It's coming up here tonight. It'll be live from the Air Canada Centre in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Of course, it'll be broadcast on TNT, as everybody knows. I mean, as the tradition goes, I mean, we're really looking forward to this. I mean, oh man, this is going to be so much fun. I mean, to be quite honest with you, I look more forward to this event. I look more forward to All-Star Saturday night than the game itself, to be honest with you. So, of course, they had the Rising Stars game tonight, and along with the celebrity game, of course. And, of course, All-Star Saturday night. 3 events. There's 3 events, I believe, although I thought there were more. There's the Taco Bell Skills Challenge, the Foot Locker 3-point contest, and the Verizon Slam Dunk contest. So, Taco Bell Skills Challenge here. There is an update that Denver Nuggets guard Emmanuel Mudiay will replace injured defending champion Patrick Beverley in the Taco Bell Skills Challenge. So wipe out Patrick Beverley. The players are as follows: DeMarcus Cousins of the Sacramento Kings, Anthony Davis of the New Orleans Pelicans, Draymond Green of your NBA champion Golden State Warriors, Karl Anthony Towns of the Minnesota Timberwolves will be in it as well. Jordan Clarkson of the Los Angeles Lakers. CJ McCollum of the Portland Trail Blazers. Okay, all right, I got the full list right here. I just wanted to make sure I had the right players here. Yeah, Patrick Beverley of the Houston Rockets. He won it last year. He's out. Here's the list as follows. I have the updated list now. Emmanuel Mudiay, Denver Nuggets. DeMarcus Cousins, Sacramento Kings. Draymond Green from the NBA World Champion Golden State Warriors. Anthony Davis of the New Orleans Pelicans. CJ McCollum of the Portland Trail Blazers. Karl Anthony Towns of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Get excited, Bullock, because your guy, Isaiah Thomas from your Boston Celtics, he's going to be in the Taco Bell All-Star Skills Challenge. And rounding out the 8 will be Jordan Clarkson of the Los Angeles Lakers. So, 3-round obstacle course competition that tests dribbling, passing, agility, and three-point shooting skills. Head-to-head bracket-style tournament format will be used for the second year in a row. The matchups have not been determined, but we'll find out the matchups soon enough. So, yeah, very interesting field here. I think what we're going to do here, we're going to break down the three events all in one. There's no need to, rotate. We're going to talk about all three events at the same time. I'll start it off since I started off here. When it comes to the skills challenge here, it's this is a great field here. I mean, I love this field. I really do. I mean, I'm high on all these guys. But there's a name that's really standing out to me right now. Now, I'm not saying this, to make Mr. Bullock happy or anything. I'm just giving you my professional opinion here. There's something about Isaiah Thomas that's really standing out to me. I mean, this young man has done wonders for the Celtics, and he's one of the main reasons why they're currently in the number 3 spot in the Eastern Conference behind Toronto and Cleveland. I mean, he is a dynamic player. I mean, this could be the dark horse in this competition. He could be the dark horse in this. Mudiay, not a bad fill-in for Beverly. I mean, I think he can do some things. DeMarcus Cousins, say what you want about him. He can be a noggin and diva at times, but he's still a good player. And Draymond Green, I mean, we all know him from the NBA champion Golden State Warriors, who are off to the greatest first half start in NBA history. We'll have more on that when we do the power rankings later on. Anthony Davis, his body of work. The Pelicans may not be doing well right now, but I'm really loving his work right now. And I have another dark horse. Watch out for McCollum, too. McCollum's a good young player in Portland. And Karl Anthony Towns, we know his body of work from Kentucky with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Thomas, like I said, is a dynamic player. Jordan Clarkson, the Lakers. This is very tough to call. But if I'm going to be honest with you, out of the names I see on this list, I got to go with Draymond Green of the Golden State Warriors. I mean, I think he's the best one right now. I mean, I'd love to see a Celtic win it, to be honest, with Isaiah Thomas. I mean, he's the one I want. He's the one you got to watch out for. That's the dark horse right there. But I'm going with Draymond Green of the Golden State Warriors to win the Taco Bell Skills Challenge. Foot Locker 3-point contest. This, to me, I think is going to be the event of the night. I mean, I expect this to be 5 stars and Shakespearean drama laden. When you have a field, listen to this field: Stephen Curry, Golden State Warriors; James Harden, Houston Rockets; Klay Thompson, Golden State Warriors; Chris Middleton, Milwaukee Bucks; Kyle Lowry, Toronto Raptors; JJ Redick, Los Angeles Clippers; CJ McCollum of the Portland Trailblazers. He's going to be in this event too. He's going to be replacing Chris Bosh of the Miami Heat, who's injured. And then rounding out the field is Devin Booker of the Phoenix Suns. You know what the 3-point shootout does. I mean, you already know how this event works. I don't have to rehash that. You should know by now. For all you even those who have been living under a rock all these years. This may be the most loaded field I've ever seen for a 3-point shootout. I mean, I've seen some great 3-point shootouts in my day. And honestly, when it comes to the All-Star Saturday night festivities, this happens to be my favorite event of the NBA All-Star Saturday night. Because there's always that feel of Shakespearean drama in the air. And I know there will be Shakespearean drama in the Air Canada Center tomorrow night. You better believe that. Any of these guys can win it, honestly. But to me, I have to go with Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry is pound for pound the best player in the game right now. Yes, I said it. Better than LeBron James. Better than Kevin Durant. Westbrook. You name it. Stephen Curry, in my honest opinion, is pound for pound the best player in the NBA today. And I wouldn't be surprised if it comes down to him and his fellow brother, Klay Thompson. I wouldn't be surprised. Because Klay Thompson, to me, is he's the Scottie Pippen to Stephen Curry's Michael Jordan right now. I mean, the Golden State Warriors are currently they're building a dynasty right now. I really do believe that. I do want to mention, watch out for James Harden. Harden, we all know Harden is, he's also in my list of top players in the game, no doubt about it. JJ Redick, his days at Duke. Michael Fletcher could tell you stories about that, but Fletcher's unfortunately not with us tonight. I'm sure if he was here, he would have told you some great stories about JJ Redick in his Duke days. And Kyle Lowry of the Toronto Raptors, Big East product out of Villanova. I'm very high on this young man because, I am a Big East guy after all, especially with Villanova, the number one team in college basketball right now, and rightfully so, especially after what they did here in Providence a week or so ago. So watch out for him. But to me right now, Stephen Curry, I have to say, is the one to beat right now. So my winner of the three-point challenge, or the Foot Locker three-point contest, rather, it's going to be Stephen Curry from your defending NBA champion Golden State Warriors. Verizon Slam Dunk Contest, 4 men involved. Defending champion Zach LaVine of the Minnesota Timberwolves, Aaron Gordon of the Orlando Magic, Will Barton of the Denver Nuggets, and Andre Drummond of the Detroit Pistons rounding out the field. This is a no contest for me. Zach LaVine's going to win this thing again. Nothing against the other guys, but to me, Zach LaVine's the one to beat, hands down. If you didn't see what he did last year, if you didn't see the show he put on in Brooklyn last year, I strongly suggest you go back and you watch that sucker back, man, because he put on a show in Brooklyn a year ago. I saw it. I was blown away. I wasn't even here at that particular point in time. So Zach LaVine wins the slam dunk contest. So those are the events of All-Star Saturday night. So with all that said, Michael Bullock, your thoughts. Who do you like in the Taco Bell Skills Challenge? Who do you like in the three-point shootout? And who do you like in the slam dunk contest? Michael Bullock, your thoughts on NBA All-Star Saturday night and the festivities.
Yeah, when it comes to the slam dunk contest, I'm gonna go with first. I mean, of course, you got Zach LaVine, who won it last year, and of course, you got 3 new contestants. Of course, Andre Drummond of the Detroit Pistons, Will Barton of the Denver Nuggets, and Aaron Gordon of the Orlando Magic. And Zach LaVine will try to become the first back-to-back slam dunk contest champion since Nate Robinson did it back in 2009 and 2010. And I mean, I've seen some of the dunks, but to me, I think Zach LaVine's are more impressive. So to me, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna agree with you and go with Zach LaVine to repeat as a slam dunk champion. So of course, when it comes to the 3-point shootout, and I gotta agree. I gotta go with Stephen Curry to win this one. I mean, this guy. I mean, one of the best shooters in the NBA. I mean, and of course he'll be. I mean, Stephen Curry. He is shooting about 45% from beyond the arc this season, and has sunk 240 trays thus far this season. And also in it, like you said, is his teammate Klay Thompson, and this will be his second straight 3-point contest, and he is shooting 42.2% from 3 this season and has knocked down 155 of them. So James Harden, of course, he too is competing in it, and so and you ran down the list of some of the other participants, but to me, I got to agree, Steph Curry, best all-around player in the NBA, and I'm gonna say he will win the three-point contest. I mean, I can't see how some of the other participants can stop him. So yeah, and when it comes to the skills, yeah, to the skills challenge. Hold on a minute. I'm just pulling it up right now. I mean, yeah, you got DeMarcus Cousins of the Sacramento Kings, Anthony Davis of the New Orleans Pelicans, and Draymond Green of the Golden State Warriors. Yeah. So yeah, you pretty much touched on everything on them. So I'm gonna go with Draymond Green. So yeah, so that's pretty much all I can say on it. So that being said, Florio, let's just move on.
NBA All Star Game, Sunday night, Valentine's Day Sunday night. Also at the Air Canada Center, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. We got because we got the East going up against the West, and Michael Bullock, you're going to be starting off on this. So I simply ask, who do you like in the All Star Game? Do you like our conference, the Eastern Conference, or do you like the Western Conference? Who do you like in this All Star Game Sunday night in Toronto?
Yeah, I mean the All-Star game. I mean, I can tell you it's always high scoring, and just taking a look at all the All-Stars. I mean, you could say the Western Conference has the better talent. I mean, especially when you got Stephen Curry, you got Kobe Bryant, who's playing in his last All Star game, and I mean, I love that team over there. And as far as the Eastern Conference, I mean, yeah, you still got LeBron James and everyone else, but so to me, I got the Western Conference winning this. I think it's going to be another one of those high scoring games. Um, and of course, and who I think is going to be the MVP of the All Star game. I wonder who I think it could be. Oh yeah, I'm going with Stephen Curry to win the MVP of the All Star game because basically, I mean, I think he's going to have a really good game here, and obviously, of course, because it is going to be uh, it's going to be I mean just high scoring with the way he's playing. So yeah, I'm just trying to find. Of course, Tyrone Lue is going to be the coach for the Eastern Conference. Greg Popovich for the West. Yeah, of course. Like I said, on that Western Conference, you got Kobe Bryant, Stephen Curry, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard. Of course, they're the starters, and then of course you got LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Kyle Lowry, Paul George, and Carmelo Anthony. So those are the starters. As for the East with their reserves, you got Chris Bosh, John Wall, Paul Millsap, DeMar DeRozan, Jimmy Butler, Andre Drummond, Isaiah Thomas, Pau Gasol, and Al Horford. As for the Western Conference with their all-star reserves, you got Chris Paul, LaMarcus Aldridge, James Harden, Anthony Davis, DeMarcus Cousins, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. So yeah, so basically, I got the Western Conference winning this one. So, and once again, my MVP is Stephen Curry. So, Florio, I give it to you.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I mean, I like the West too. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. Michael Bullock and we're Eastern Conference guys. You know, mainly because of the fact that I'm a Chicago Bulls fan, along with Michael Fletcher and one of our super fans / colleagues, Matt Ward, and of course Michael Bullock, of course, along with Derek Ferreira, fans of the Boston Celtics. So that makes us Eastern Conference guys. And we're going to be pulling for the East to win. I mean, we're in an Eastern Conference city, for goodness sakes. Toronto, which is the Toronto Raptors, who I'll tell you right now, they're in the top 5 in my power rankings. So I'll tell you that right now. I mean, of course, when you have Stephen Curry leading the way, along with Kobe and Kevin Durant and Kawhi Leonard and Russell Westbrook, I mean, that's a damn good starting 5 right there. And then you got Draymond Green and Klay Thompson coming off the bench, and Chris Paul, James Harden, DeMarcus Cousins, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Anthony Davis. I mean, how can you not beat that? I mean, how in the world are you going to beat that? There's no way you can. And Bullock, in one way, I mean, there is in a way I do agree with you about Stephen Curry, but there's something telling me about Kobe right now. I mean, I know he hasn't done much, obviously.
I mean, I wouldn't be, and you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Kobe Bryant gets the MVP because, well, this is his last All-Star game.
Yeah, and that's why. And that's
and let's not forget what happened with Magic Johnson. I mean, this was his last All-Star game. I think it was back in '92. I think it was.
Yeah, '92 at the Arena. Yes.
Yeah, and he ended up winning the MVP.
Yeah, we'll never forget that. Absolutely not. Of course, when you have the East, I mean, you got Carmelo Anthony in there, you got Paul George, you got LeBron, you got Kyle Lowry, and you got Dwayne Wade. I mean, that's a solid team, but not against that Western 5. No way. There are a couple of injury replacements. Jimmy Butler of the Chicago Bulls replaced by his teammate Pau Gasol. And Chris Bosh of the Miami Heat, he's out. He's replaced by Al Horford of the Atlanta Hawks. So Gasol and Horford are in, along with John Wall, Andre Drummond, DeMar DeRozan, Paul Millsap, and your guy Bullock, Isaiah Thomas. So, yeah, I mean, that's a solid Eastern team, really is. But when you think about who you have on the West, when you got Curry and you got Durant and Westbrook, and then Thompson and Green off the bench and all those other guys, there's no way the East can win this thing. No way. If the East can win this thing, it would be like the Denver Broncos winning the Super Bowl. I mean, none of us thought the Denver Broncos were going to win the Super Bowl. And look what they did. They won the Super Bowl. They proved us all wrong. And they took it to the Carolina Panthers and then some. So you already know that story by now. So with all that said, I agree with you, Bullock, 100%. I like the Western Conference to win the All-Star game. My gut tells me Stephen Curry will be the MVP, but my heart tells me that Kobe Bryant could be in that MVP running as well. So there you have it. So with all that said, it's now time for our main event of the evening. It is our newest installment of the NBA Power Rankings. I'm going to start it off, and I got to be honest with you. I do have a couple of duds in this power rankings. I got quite a few duds in my power rankings this time around. First and foremost, my Chicago Bulls. They're not in the power rankings this time around. They've lost 4 games in a row, 3-7 in their last 10. I'm sorry. There's no place for them in these power rankings. Maybe in a couple weeks, but not right now. If they play better in the next 2 weeks, then maybe. But right now, no, they're out. Another dud, the Detroit Pistons. I had them in there last time. They're gone now. They've lost 3 in a row, and they're 4-6 in their last 10. So Detroit, you're out. And this is a little bit of a tough one for me, but I kind of want to see a little more from the Indiana Pacers. So they're on the outside looking in. You could say they like my pseudo number 11 right now. So Indiana, 1-game losing streak, 5-5 in the last 10. I kind of want to see a little more from them. So I reluctantly have to put Indiana on the outside looking in. So that's pretty much it on that front. I'm going to start it off at number 10, and I have a tie at number 10. And let me just check a couple more here. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to be sure I had the right duds. So they're all out. Did I have Miami in there? No, I didn't. The only real honorable mention I have right now is the Miami Heat. They're 29-24. They've lost 2 in a row. They're 6-4 in their last 10. I kind of want to see a little more from them. So you could actually say them and Indiana are my co-number 11s, if you will. They're both on the outside looking in. I just need to see a little more. Their records are good. I just need to see a little more from them. So I'm going to leave them out. And then one other honorable mention, Al Braderson's favorite team, the Utah Jazz, 26-26. Yes, they're 8-2 in their last 10, but they're on a 1-game losing streak. I want to see a little more from them. So Utah, that's basically another number 11 right there. I think they're number 11, and maybe right around 12 and 13 is Indiana and Miami. So those 3 are on the outside looking in. So with that said, I'm going to start it off now with number 10. And like I said, I believe I have a tie here. Yes, I do. Both teams have won 3 games in a row. Both teams, well, one team is currently sitting at 500. Another team is 1 game over 500. But one team is 7-3 in their last 10. The other is 8-2 in their last 10. They both won 3 games in a row. And the records are practically identical. So I'm going to go with a tie at number 10. The Charlotte Hornets and the Portland Trailblazers. Yeah, I said it. The Charlotte Hornets and the Portland Trailblazers are my co-number 10s in this installment of the NBA Power Rankings. I mean, when you look at the Charlotte Hornets, like I said, they're on a 3-game winning streak. And during that streak, they've beaten, get this lineup. They've beaten the Washington Wizards, the Chicago Bulls, and the Indiana Pacers during that 3-game winning streak. I mean, our last Power Rankings was 3 weeks ago. I mean, they've done pretty well since then. I mean, wins over, well, they lost to Portland, then they beat the Lakers, and then they beat the Eastern Conference champion Cavs. Unbelievable. And, well, they've also beaten, they also, like I said, they also beat the Knicks. They also beat Sacramento in a double overtime classic. Got Holiday hand by Utah. Lost to Portland. Then they beat the Lakers and then Cleveland at home. Lost to Miami. Tough loss. And then the 3-game winning streak right now when they beat Washington, Chicago, and Indiana. They return from the All-Star break next Friday night when they go to Milwaukee, take on the Bucks at the Bradley Center. Sunday the 21st, they go to the Barclays in Brooklyn against the Nets. Wednesday the 24th, they're at Cleveland against the Cavaliers. And then the 26th, which is our next rankings, they're at the Indiana Pacers. So they're on a road trip, 4-game road trip. Actually, a 5-game road trip because they go to Atlanta at the end of the month. And then their next home game is not until March 1st. Go figure. When they go up against the Phoenix Suns. So just wanted to throw that little quick note in there. So my first number 10 is the Charlotte Hornets. My other number 10 is the Portland Trailblazers. They've won 3 games in a row. They're 8-2 in their last 10. And as I pull up their information, since our last Power Rankings, they beat the Lakers, they beat the Sacramento Kings, the Charlotte Hornets. At one point, they were on a major winning streak here. They were on a 5-game winning streak, beating the Lakers, Sacramento, Charlotte, Minnesota, and Milwaukee. And they did all that at home. And then their streak ended against the Toronto Raptors, 110-103. But since then, they won 3 games in a row. They won at Houston, they won at Memphis, and they won at home against Houston. So a lot of this role that they're on right now has been at their home confines of the Moda Center, formerly the Rose Garden. Welcome back from the All-Star break, Portland. Your first game out, you're at home. That's the good news. But the bad news is you got the NBA champion Golden State Warriors coming in. Your first game after the All-Star break. Good luck to that. Sunday the 21st, they're at home against the Utah Jazz. Then they're at home against the Brooklyn Nets on the 23rd. And then host the Houston Rockets. So they're on a 4-game homestand. Their next road game won't be until Saturday, February 27th, when they go to Chicago to take on my Bulls at the United Center. So that's it. So they would have been higher up, but the thing is, their record, they're only at 500. Watch out for Portland. If they keep playing like this right now, Portland could become a dark horse in that Western Conference. Even though when it comes to that West, it's all about Golden State and San Antonio, and rightfully so. Well, maybe Oklahoma City as well. Maybe about those three teams right now, rightfully so and all that, but watch out for Portland. They could be one of those Cinderella teams if they keep playing like they are right now, especially with McCollum leading the way. They're unbelievable. So, code number 10s, Charlotte Hornets, Portland Trail Blazers. Michael Bullock, you know the age-old question around here. Agree or disagree?
I agree with you. The Charlotte Hornets and the Portland Trail Blazers are they're my number 10 as well. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say except let's move on to number 9.
Alrighty, number 9 in this installment of the NBA Power Rankings. I've scoured and I've looked, and this is a bit of a tough call, but my number 9, I'm actually going to go with the Atlanta Hawks at number 9. 31-24, 5-5 in the last 10, 1-game winning streak. First place team, and they lead the Southeast Division over the Miami Heat. And since our last power rankings, they lost to the Phoenix Suns. They beat the Denver Nuggets. They lost at home to the Clippers. Got holiday hand by the Indiana Pacers. Got beat down by the Miami Heat. And then they holiday hand the Dallas Mavericks. Easy win against the Philadelphia 76ers. What else is new? They're terrible. Beat Indiana at home. Tough loss at Orlando. And then they lost a back-to-back home-and-home series with Orlando. One of which went to overtime. And then a holiday hamming of my Chicago Bulls on Wednesday night. Didn't like seeing that. And then when they get back from the All-Star break, they're actually going to be on a 5-game homestand. But it's not going to be easy. First game back, they host the Miami Heat next Friday, the 19th. And then Saturday, the 20th, they got the Milwaukee Bucks coming in. And then Monday night, February 22nd, on NBA TV, the NBA champion Golden State Warriors come to Phillips Arena. And then on our next rankings, Friday, February 26th, ESPN Friday night game at home against my Chicago Bulls. And then the final game of the homestand, Sunday, February 28th, when they host the Charlotte Hornets. Their first road game will be on Tuesday, March 1st on NBA TV. And they got to go to the Oracle against the champion Warriors. Oh, man. Talk about a murderer's row schedule with the exception of Milwaukee. So Paul Millsap and company, you got work to do. Big time. So with that said, number 9, for me, it's the Atlanta Hawks. Michael Bullock, agree or disagree?
Yes, my number 9. I got to go with the Atlanta Hawks as well. So yeah. So you pretty much touched on them. So let's move on to number 8.
Yeah. Number 8, right? Yeah. Okay. Number 8 in the NBA Power Rankings. As I scour these standings, I'm going to go with the Memphis Grizzlies at number 8. 31-22, 1-game winning streak. 7-3 in the last 10. I mean, decent young team there. Let me see. Okay. Since our last power rankings, they lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves. They defeated the Orlando Magic in overtime. Easy win over the Milwaukee Bucks. They knocked off the Sacramento Kings and the New Orleans Pelicans and the New York Knicks. They were on a major winning streak for a while. But then last Saturday, they lost in overtime to the Dallas Mavericks. And then another tough overtime loss to the Portland Trail Blazers. And then they rebounded with a win over the Brooklyn Nets. So, upcoming schedule, next Friday, they host the Minnesota Timberwolves. Sunday the 21st, they go to Toronto to take on the Raptors. Wednesday the 24th, they start a back-to-back. They start a home-and-home series with the Los Angeles Lakers. Wednesday the 24th, Memphis will host it at the FedEx Forum. And then Friday the 26th, then they go to Staples to take on the Lakers in LA. That will be on ESPN, by the way. So Friday night ESPN game right there. So that's pretty much it for them. So number 8, it's the Memphis Grizzlies. Michael Bullock, what say you?
Yeah, I agree. The Memphis Grizzlies, they're my number 8. They're my number 8 as well. So yeah, so there's pretty much nothing else for me to say except let's move on to number 7, and I'll actually take this one.
All right, who you got?
My number 7. I'm actually going to put my team, the Boston Celtics, in there at number 7. As we take a look at what they've done in their last 10, they're 8-2 in their last 10 games. They're on a 1-game winning streak, and of course, let's take a look at what they've done. Of course, excuse me. I'm just take a look at what they've done in their last 10. So, all right, I got it right now. Of course, they defeated the Washington Wizards. They beat the Denver Nuggets. They beat the Orlando Magic. But then, of course, they lost to them in Orlando on the 31st. They beat the New York Knicks. They beat the Detroit Pistons, and here's a real thrilling win against the top seed in the Eastern Conference, Cleveland Cavaliers in Cleveland, 104-103 on a buzzer beater by Avery Bradley. And I'll tell you what, you watch that game on Comcast, and one of the legendary commentators, Mike Gorman, went nuts when that happened. So yeah, and then of course on Super Sunday they beat the Sacramento Kings, and then 2 days later. All right, I'm back now. So 2 days later, they lost to the Milwaukee Bucks, and then on the 10th, they beat the LA Clippers in overtime, 139-134. So yeah, so their next 10, of course, yeah, of course, in the All-Star break. I mean, after the All-Star break, they got the Utah Jazz. Then on the 21st, they got the Denver Nuggets, and then they got the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Miami Heat, the Utah Jazz, the Portland Trailblazers, and the New York Knicks. And then, of course, March 5th, mark that date down. It's another day with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Boy, I'm really looking forward to that one. And I mean, yeah, so that's pretty much all I could say. Of course, Isaiah Thomas is leading the way with 21.5 points a game and averaging 6 assists a game. And Jared Sullinger is leading the team in rebounds. And Jay Crowder, I mean, he's really contributed as well. So and definitely, of course, Marcus Smart at the point guard position, and Evan Turner with what he's done. So yeah, my number 7, it's the Boston Celtics. I mean, I want to put them just a smidgen higher at 6, but I feel like there's one team that's just a little bit better than them. So number 7 is the Boston Celtics. Florio, I give it to you.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, man. You read my mind. Boston Celtics, yes, Bullock. They're number 7, and I know you couldn't be any more delighted. I mean, with what this team has done, I mean, this team to me, I'm going to be honest with you folks, this team to me is the biggest surprise in the NBA right now. I was not expecting much from this team. I thought maybe they could be a playoff team. I thought maybe they could be right around that 5 to 8 line, honestly. I never thought in my wildest dreams they would currently be in the number 3 spot in the Eastern Conference, ahead of my Chicago Bulls. That's hard to believe, but they're there. They only trail the Toronto Raptors by, I believe it's like 4.5 games in the Atlantic Division. And then, of course, you got the Cleveland Cavaliers, who they trail by like, a century. So, yeah, I mean, Bullock touched on everything. I mean, they lost to, well, they beat my Bulls the night we did our last power rankings, the 22nd at home, 110-101. They were supposed to play Philadelphia, but that game got postponed to the following day. But don't worry, the Celtics took care of business. They won by 20. And then they followed that up with a 25-point beatdown of the Wizards in Washington. And then they knocked off Denver, knocked off Orlando. 5-game winning streak, really. Before that was snapped in Orlando on January 31, 119-114. And then they went into New York, beat the Knicks in the Garden, beat the Pistons. But it was last Friday night. I was sidetracked. I'm not sure if Mr. Bullock talked about this, but last Friday night on the 5th, they went into Cleveland and beat the Cavaliers. Avery Bradley, a buzzer beater. I mean, the Celtics were trailing by a majority in that game, and they somehow, some way, found a way to get it done and got the win. And then they knocked off the Sacramento Kings on Super Bowl Sunday. And then a tough luck loss against the Milwaukee Bucks, 112-111 at the Bradley Center. And then Wednesday night against the Los Angeles Clippers, they won a 5-star classic, chock full of Shakespearean drama at its finest, 139-134 in overtime at TD Garden on the parquet floor. Unbelievable. Bullet touched on the schedule. They start the All-Star break. They start the post-All-Star break on a 3-game road trip, where they got to go to Utah on the next Friday night, and then Sunday the 21st, they're at Denver, and then they go to Minnesota on the 22nd before they have their first home game post-All-Star break, Thursday the 25th, when they host the Milwaukee Bucks. So, yeah, biggest surprise in the NBA, bar none. That's all there is to say about it. Brad Stevens has done a tremendous job with that team, and, both talked about Avery Bradley. Don't forget about Isaiah Thomas, the All-Star. I mean, really loving their body of work right now. 1-game winning streak. They're 8-2 in their last 10, 32-23 record, 4.5 games out against the 4.5 out of the Toronto Raptors in the Atlantic Division, and 7.5 games behind the Cleveland Cavaliers for the best record in the Eastern Conference. So unbelievable. That's all I can say. A team full of youngins. I mean, no Paul Pierce, no Kevin Garnett, no Ray Allen, Glenn Big Baby Davis, all those other great talents they had, in the late 2000s, early 2010s, the team that was going to the NBA Finals all those years and winning it in 2008 and then coming up short in 2010. So, yeah, unreal. So, just like the Portland Trailblazers in the West, watch out for the Celtics in the East. They could be a dark horse to win the East. Did I really just say that? Oh, my God. I think I just scared myself. Wow. And I'm sure Michael Bullock just had an adrenaline rush. So, yeah, dark horse there, Bullock. That's all I'm saying. So, they keep doing what they're doing. Who knows? This team could be one of those surprise teams that we never saw coming. So watch out for them. So I couldn't agree with you more, buddy. Number 7 is the Boston Celtics. So, and I'll tell you right now, the rest of the power rankings, the rest of the way, no brainers now. Now that I've looked at everything, now that I've had a chance to really look at the standings now. So Bullock just led off number 7, so I'll take it back at number 6. No brainer. The Los Angeles Clippers are my number 6. Overall record of 35-18, 7-3 in their last 10. They're on a 1-game losing streak. They're currently 2nd in the Pacific Division. We all know who they're looking up to. You already know that story by now. It's a 13.5 game deficit. That's all I can say on that. Largest deficit of any division in the game. Since our last power rankings, on the night of our last power rankings, they holiday hand the New York Knicks. Then they got beat down by the Raptors in Toronto. Then they won in Indiana, won in Atlanta, won at home. Well, technically home against the Lakers. Easy home win against the Bulls. They holiday hammed them. And then a tough luck loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves on the 3rd. Last Friday, they went into Orlando, beat the Magic. Super Bowl Sunday, they went into Miami and beat the Heat, 193. They needed overtime to beat the 76ers in Philadelphia, but they eventually did. And then, of course, that tough luck loss to Mr. Bullock's Celtics, that 5-star Shakespearean drama-laden classic in TD Garden Wednesday night. First game from the All-Star break will be Thursday night, the 18th, at the Staples Center when they host the San Antonio Spurs, TNT. And then next Saturday night, as part of the Saturday night game on ABC, they're at home at Staples Center against the NBA champion Golden State Warriors. Oh, is that going to be a fun one? And then Monday the 22nd, they're at home against the Phoenix Suns on NBA TV. Wednesday the 24th, yet another home game, 4-game homestand, when they host the Denver Nuggets. That concludes the homestand. And then they have their first road game post All-Star break in 2 weeks, February 26th, when they go to the Arco Arena to take on the Sacramento Kings. So that's the schedule. Of course, you know the big story in Clipperland. Blake Griffin suspended for 4 games for an incident with a team employee. So we'll see how they function without him. But they're doing pretty good right now. So with that said, number 6, it is the Los Angeles Clippers. Michael Bullock, agree or disagree?
I agree. The LA Clippers are my number 6 as well. So yeah. You pretty much touched on it. So that being said, let's move on to the top 5.
And I'm going to start it off. Is that correct?
Actually, hold on just a second. Yeah, I'm just trying to pull it up right now. So yeah, just taking a little bit of time here. Sorry about that.
No worries. We got time.
Yeah. I just thought I had it. Yeah, actually, why don't you take this?
Yeah, I'm ready. I already got it. I'm already
Yeah.
set. I got it all set the rest of the way, so I'm good. Number 5, Toronto Raptors.
Mm-hmm.
The Toronto Raptors are my number 5. 35-17 record. Currently the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, only behind the Cleveland Cavaliers, of course. 35-17 record. They lead the Atlantic Division by 4.5 games over Mr. Bullock Celtics. They lost their last game, but they are 8-2 in their last 10. That was a tough one between them and the Clippers, but I gave Toronto the benefit of the doubt. The body of work was just a little better than the Clippers was. Since our last power rankings, the night of our last power rankings, easy win over the Miami Heat, a 20-point beatdown of the Heat at Air Canada Center. Then they beat down the Clippers. And then another beatdown of the Wizards. And then they beat the Knicks. And then the Detroit Pistons. So they did very well. They had a long homestand. They had I believe it was a 6 or 7 game homestand. Yeah, 7-game homestand from Martin Luther King Day, January 18th, through January 30th. And get this, they won every game. They swept the homestand, beat Brooklyn, beat the Celtics, beat the Heat, the Clippers, the Wizards, the Knicks, the Pistons. And then go figure, their first road game after that, they lose and they get beat down by the Denver Nuggets of all teams. Hard to believe. And then they rebounded with a win over Phoenix, in Phoenix, and then they won in Portland, then they won in Detroit, and then they had a bad loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves on Wednesday night, 117-112 in Minnesota at Target Center. Their first game from the break will be on Friday the 19th, next Friday, when they go to Chicago to take on the Bulls at the United Center. Sunday the 21st, they return home to host the Memphis Grizzlies. Monday the 22nd, they go to Madison Square Garden to take on the Knicks. And then they're at home against the Minnesota Timberwolves on the 24th. And then on the 26th, the battle of the best teams in the East. The Toronto Raptors are at home against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Eastern Conference supremacy on the line in that one in 2 weeks. Major implications. And who knows, maybe we may actually cover that game. You never know. We do our next power rankings in 2 weeks in the NBA. So there you go. They host the All-Star game this weekend. Very exciting time for them. So, yeah, really loving their body of work right now. So number 5 is the Toronto Raptors. Michael Bullock, do you agree or disagree?
Yes, Toronto Raptors. They're my number 5 as well. So, yeah. So there's really nothing more for me to say. So let's move on to number 4, and I'll actually take this.
All right, who you got?
My number 4, I'm gonna go with the Cleveland Cavaliers as my number 4. Basically, of course, just pulling it up now. They've won 3 in a row. They are 8-2 in their last 10, and of course, it started off with hold on a second. I'm just trying to. I had the Cavs schedule, but I lost it. But there we go. It started off, of course. They beat the Minnesota Timberwolves, but here's the thing. Here's one of the things that hurt them. They beat a bad Minnesota Timberwolves team by only 7. To me, they should have won by more than that. If I'll be quite honest. They also beat the Phoenix Suns. They beat the Detroit Pistons. They beat the San Antonio Spurs. They beat the Indiana Pacers. And then, of course, they went on a little bit of a 2-game losing streak with a loss to the Charlotte Hornets, and then that crushing loss to the Celtics on the last shot. And then, of course, they beat the New Orleans Pelicans, and then, of course, they beat the Kings, and of course, the Los Angeles Lakers. So, yeah. So coming out of the All-Star break, the Cavs have they get the Chicago Bulls, and then, of course, on the 21st, they get the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's going to be something to watch. And then, of course, they got the Detroit Pistons, and then they got the Charlotte Hornets, and then they have the Toronto Raptors. Then they have the Washington Wizards. Then they have the Indiana Pacers. Then they have the Wizards once again, and then another date with the Boston Celtics. So yeah. Of course, we know LeBron James is basically leading the way. Of course, along with Kevin Love, even though now Kevin Love is hurt. And of course, you still got Kyrie Irving. So that's pretty much all I can say. So my number 4 is the Cleveland Cavaliers. So, Florio, what say you?
What say me, Bullock? I agree. We talked about this, when when you drove me to the office today, I mean, we talked about this. I mean, 3 and 4. I'll tell you right now, spots 4 and 3 were between two teams. It was between the Cleveland Cavaliers and our number 3 team, which I'll get into in a moment since I'll be taking that one. And we decided that the team at number 3, we were going to give the benefit of the doubt to our number 3 team. So that's what we decided to do. Cleveland Cavaliers are indeed number 4, Bullock. I agree with you 100%. 38-14 record, best record in the Eastern Conference. They've won 3 games in a row. I believe they're 8-2 in their last 10. Yeah, 8-2 in their last 10. They won 3 in a row. Overall record of 38-14, which is the best in the Eastern Conference. I mean, you went down pretty much everything on the schedule. I mean, I know you talked about that big game against that big win by your Celtics against them last Friday night. I mean, I know you got into that. And, you touched on everything, Another thing that came to me, they also lost to my Bulls at home, 96-83, January 23rd on that Saturday night on ABC. I could not have been any more. I wasn't any more delighted at that particular point in time. And then they got hot, beat Minnesota and Phoenix at home, won in Detroit, beat San Antonio at home, won in Indiana in overtime. Bad loss. And then they had a rare losing streak, a 2-game losing streak, February 3rd and 5th. They lose in Charlotte, and then, of course, that tough loss to your Celtics, Bullock. And then last Saturday, an easy win against New Orleans, easy win against Sacramento. And then they beat the Lakers on Wednesday night in what will very likely be the final time we'll ever see Kobe Bryant and LeBron James ever go head-to-head against each other. Their first game on the All-Star break this Thursday night as part of the infamous Thursday night TNT doubleheader. They host the Chicago Bulls at home. And then they go to Oklahoma City, Sunday, February 21. That's going to be at 3:30 on ABC. And then Monday the 22nd, they host the Detroit Pistons. Wednesday the 24th, they host the Charlotte Hornets. And then they had that huge game in Toronto against the Raptors on February 26th. The battle of supremacy in the Eastern Conference as the 2 best teams will be going at it. So there you go. So number 4, I agree with you, Bullock. It is the Cleveland Cavaliers. Number 3, I'll start it off. It's the Oklahoma City Thunder. 2-game winning streak, 8-2 in their last 10 games, 40-14 record, which is only good enough for the 3rd best record in the Western Conference. And let's pull up the Thunder's body of work and upcoming schedule as we wind down here on Strictly Sports. Since on the night of our last power rankings, the 22nd of January, they defeated the Dallas Mavericks in Dallas. Then they lost to the Brooklyn Nets at Barclays. They barely got by the Knicks in Madison Square Garden in overtime. Barely got by the Timberwolves in Minnesota. Knocked off the Houston Rockets. Easy win over the Washington Wizards. Barely got by the Orlando Magic. Can't believe they actually had trouble with them. And then they lost to the Golden State Warriors last Saturday night in a great game. Lost by 8. And then they rebounded with an easy win in Phoenix against the Suns. Holiday hammed the New Orleans Pelicans in their last game, 121-95. Next Friday night on ESPN, they'll be at home against the Indiana Pacers. And then, of course, Sunday the 21st, possible NBA Finals preview perhaps. You never know. When they host the Cleveland Cavaliers in Oklahoma City at 3:30 on ABC, the ABC Sunday afternoon game right there. Wednesday the 24th, they go to Dallas to take on the Mavericks at American Airlines Center. And then Thursday the 25th, the NBA doubleheader on TNT. They go to Smoothie King Arena to take on the New Orleans Pelicans. And I have one other note that I want to share with you folks. Saturday night, February 27th. Mark this on your calendar. It's the ABC Saturday night game. The Oklahoma City Thunder at home against the NBA champion Golden State Warriors. Expect that to be 5 stars, full of Shakespearean drama. So Durant and Westbrook, of course, leading the way in the All-Star game. They'll be in the starting lineup. We'll see how they do on Sunday night in Toronto. So, and Billy Donovan, Bullock, you and I talked about this also during our afternoon drive today. We talked about this. Billy Donovan, what he's done for the Oklahoma City Thunder. I mean, we talked about his body of work with the Florida Gators, winning those back-to-back national championships in 2006 and 2007 with that awesome starting five that included Joakim Noah and Al Horford, just to name a few. I mean, and couple his body work at Florida, even before those championship teams. I mean, he had a stellar career at Florida, one of the greatest college coaches of all time. And we also talked about how college coaches usually don't fare well on the pro level. But right now, Billy Donovan is one of those exceptions to the rule, if you can believe that. So I'm very impressed with his body of work. And right now, you may have to consider him a candidate for NBA Coach of the Year. You have to, especially after the hard times the Thunder had last year, which led to the unfortunate termination of Scott Brooks, who I had an immense amount of respect for. So, that's pretty much all I can say, when it comes to the Oklahoma City Thunder. I mean, the body of work just speaks for itself. I mean, they're just simply amazing. So, unfortunately, we have lost Michael Bullock yet again. I mean, he is having some major difficulties tonight, major hard times on his end. But I have faith he'll be back in just a moment. So no need to panic. He should be back momentarily. So, but yeah, nonetheless, I mean, Billy Donovan, just absolutely fantastic what he has done with the Oklahoma City Thunder in his first year on the job, replacing Scotty Brooks. And Scotty Brooks, had that great success with the Thunder. It started rough. And then, of course, you remember back in, I believe it was 2012, when this team actually went to the NBA Finals. But unfortunately, we're upended by, LeBron and the overhyped, overrated Miami Heat teams, when LeBron and them finally got that elusive championship. So, yeah. But nonetheless, really like the Oklahoma City Thunder's body of work right now. And this team, no question about it, is the biggest threat to Golden State in San Antonio right now in the Western Conference, if I'm going to be quite honest with you folks. So, yeah. We'll see what's going on with Michael Bullock here. Obviously, he's having some issues right now on his end, with his connection, I'm sure. He's been getting error messages pretty much all throughout the broadcast, and it's been in and out several times here tonight. So, yeah. So, yeah, I don't know if I should message him or anything. So, hopefully he'll be back soon enough. So, we'll keep an eye out for if and when Michael Bullock makes his way back in to our show. So, so in the meantime, Oklahoma City Thunder number 3 in the power rankings. I could not agree. I mean, there's no doubt about that whatsoever. So that's a no-brainer. So we're just going to move on to number 2. And my number 2, there's no question about it. It is the San Antonio Spurs. 45-8 record, 6-game winning streak, 8-2 in their last 10 games. I mean, normally that's good enough to be number 1, but not in this case. I mean, especially when you have the number 1 team doing what they're doing right now, just simply amazing and mind-boggling. Since our last rankings, the night of our last rankings, they beat the Lakers in Los Angeles, easy win. Then they got holiday hand by the Golden State Warriors. And then the Spurs bounced back, holiday hand the Houston Rockets. Then they lost to Cleveland in Cleveland. Then home wins against Orlando and New Orleans. And then I believe January 30th was their last loss when they lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They haven't lost since then. They easy win over the Orlando Magic, easy win over the New Orleans Pelicans, Easy win over the Dallas Mavericks. Barely got by the Lakers last Saturday night, but they beat the Lakers nonetheless. Then they went into Miami, beat the Heat easily, and then barely got by the Orlando Magic on Wednesday night. So next game for them is on Thursday night. They go to Los Angeles, back-to-back actually. They play the Clippers on Thursday night, and then the following night they play the Lakers. Then they go to Phoenix against the Suns on Sunday the 21st, and then they're at Sacramento on the 24th against the Kings, and then against the Utah Jazz on the 25th, at the Houston Rockets on February 27th. I believe this is the infamous rodeo road trip. And their next home game will not be until Wednesday night, March 2nd, when they host the Detroit Pistons. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. So this has to be the infamous rodeo road trip that they're known for. So yeah. I mean, I still can't understand for the life of me what's happening with Michael Bullock here. I mean, he's been in and out all night, and he had been right back in almost seconds later, but right now he's having some major difficulties right now. So who knows? We may have just lost him for the rest of the evening. So yeah. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with him. So I'll just wrap this up the best I can. There's I pretty much touched on all of this. So yeah, I don't know what's going on. So just messaged him, see what's going on. Something must have happened. So but yeah, I pretty much touched on everything. So San Antonio Spurs are number 2, and number 1, there's no doubt about this. It's your reigning and defending NBA champion Golden State Warriors. I mean, rightfully so. I mean, best start in NBA history, 48-4. That's even better than the 95-96 Bulls that won the 72 games, as we all know, en route to that championship that they won. Obviously 10-0 in their last 10 games, since they're currently on an 11-game winning streak right now, which is unreal. I mean, last loss was on January 16th against the Detroit Pistons, but since then, Holiday Ham Cleveland, Holiday Ham Chicago, easy win against Indiana, easy win against San Antonio, easy win against Dallas, barely got by Philly, but they beat Philly. Holiday Ham New York, easy win against Washington, barely got by OKC, beat Houston, and then they beat Phoenix. So yeah, January 16th, their last loss, that was against the Detroit Pistons. And they're undefeated at home. They haven't lost a home game this year, 24-0. Just wow. They start the All-Star break on a long road trip. They're actually they played the first of a 7-game road trip. Their next 6 games are on the road. At Portland next Friday, at the Clippers next Saturday night for that big game on ABC. Monday the 22nd at Atlanta against the Hawks, NBA TV. Wednesday the 24th at Miami against the Heat. Thursday the 25th at Orlando against the Magic. And then Saturday the 27th at Oklahoma City, ABC Saturday night game right there. Next home game will not be until March 1st when they host the Atlanta Hawks. So Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and company, you just can't help but be impressed by this team's body of work right now. They're just unbelievable. That's all I'm saying right now. I know if Bullock was here, he probably would agree with me. So I think that pretty much says it all right there. So number 1 with a bullet, your reigning and defending NBA champion, Golden State Warriors. So that's going to put the ball on this edition of Strictly Sports. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in and for this rather abbreviated edition tonight. So, of course, special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make Strictly Sports and the Wrestling Forum, as ridiculously over as they are. Like I said earlier, Michael Fletcher's channel, Sunday night, we did our Super Bowl recap show. 1,170 views. Just mind-boggling. That's just all I can say about that. And it's now being considered the greatest Strictly Sports show of all time, surpassing our Mayweather-Pacquiao special from last May, and, of course, our infamous June 6, 2013 edition, when, me, Michael Bullock, and Derek Ferrera all celebrated the Boston Bruins going to the Stanley Cup Finals. When we did the Feed Me More, the Ryback. I mean, that's an event I'll never leave my heart. I'll tell you that right now. So yeah. You, like I said, you are the best fans in the world. I mean, 1,170 views at last check. Unbelievable. That's all I can say about that. I couldn't be happier. Bullock couldn't be happier. Derek couldn't be happier. And, of course, certainly not least, Michael Fletcher. He couldn't be happier either. He's just overwhelmed by all the love and support. And we appreciate all of you great fans. You are the best fans in the world. So that's that. Of course, our super fans, Dee Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson, and the entire Woodson family, Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonbaugh, Daniel Luttrell from the UK, our first ladies, Megan Silva and Kaiser Butler, and our crew, Michael Fletcher, who couldn't be with us tonight due to work commitments, Derek Ferrera, as you all know, with his sports blog and other commitments on his end, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Rob Parsons, and last but not least, Al Braderson. We want to wish a very happy birthday to our good friend Al Braderson, who's celebrating a birthday today. So a very happy birthday indeed to Al Braderson. On behalf of all of us here at Strictly Sports, we hope you and yours have a very blessed day. And we hope to have you on the show very soon. In the meantime, keep on watching. So if you haven't already, so very happy birthday indeed to Al Braderson. Of course, all of our local television personalities from ABC6, Channel 10, and Channel 12, like Ken Bell and Frank Carpano and Joe Kayada and Yanni Caracas, Mark Dondero, Patrick Little, and company. All of our friends from ESPN and Fox Sports 1 and MLB Network, NHL Network, the NFL Network, who did a tremendous job during the Super Bowl week. Just amazing. And, all of our usual personalities, you know who you are. Olivia Harlan, Lindsay McCormick, Stata Sorrell, our friends from The Road Show, former co-hosts Megan Mooney and Mary Larson, along with current hosts Will Gilbert, Michaela Johnson, and Brendan Kirby. And last but certainly not least, my superstars. They know who they are. My wonderful, beautiful, and outstanding church family at Oasis of Grace Ministries on 464 Silver Spring Street. Went to a service earlier tonight, a special Friday night prayer service. Just absolutely sensational. Could not have enjoyed a better service. I mean, that service was absolutely beautiful. And I for one, enjoyed every minute of it. Big weekend this weekend, the outreach tomorrow, and then, of course, Sunday, the big Valentine's Day fellowship service. And we'll also be celebrating the birthday of the main man himself, Pastor Carl Russo. Cannot wait to, see him and wish him a happy birthday. I mean, it's going to be a great day. Also Valentine's Day, so it's going to be an extra special day on Sunday. I really cannot wait for that. Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. Bible study, Sunday morning 10 a.m. service, and then Wednesday night at 7 Bible study, and then the big events like I just said. So you need a church home, check them out. Exit 25 off Route 95. They're just absolutely amazing over there. The superstars over there, they know who they are, and I cannot wait to see them on Sunday for that great Valentine's Day service. It's going to be amazing. I already know it is. So. And last but certainly not least, Michael Bullock. I don't know what the heck happened to him. Obviously, the connection must have failed him, obviously. So I guess he decided to call it a night here. I don't blame him. I mean, we've been near the end of the show anyway. So, and I'm sure he probably would have agreed with me on those last three in the power rankings, Oklahoma City, San Antonio, and Golden State. So yeah, that's going to put the bow on this edition of Strictly Sports. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. Of course, we'll next see you Monday night for the Wrestling Forum. Hopefully, Michael Bullock's issues will be straightened out. Hopefully, we'll have Michael Fletcher. Hopefully, we'll have him ready to go. As we'll recap Monday Night Raw, we'll also have Mikey's Mindset. We'll get into Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground, among other things. We'll probably also have a recap of the RWA Elite Status show tonight. And I'll have my Tony's take on TNA Impact Wrestling and Thursday Night SmackDown. So that's Monday night. And then, of course, next Friday night, Strictly Sports. And then next Saturday, the 20th, we'll see about a possible Fastlane preview edition of the Wrestling Forum as we'll preview the Fastlane pay-per-view / WWE Network specials. So that'll do it for this. So until Monday night for the Wrestling Forum, it's Anthony Florio here. For in spirit for Michael Bullock and for Michael Fletcher and for Derek Ferreira, all in spirit. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay warm if you're on the East Coast. It's going to be very cold. The polar vortex coming in. So bundle up if you go out there. Stay warm and everything else. So wish you all the best with that. And until Monday night for the Wrestling Forum, you've been watching Strictly Sports right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. And for now, Anthony Florio. So long.